this if you want.
Welcome back to another episode of Cheers to Health. Of course, you got to have that bad man, Brian Torres, with the mustache coming in hot. And of course, I got to have my co-host, the smallest one of them all, Omar Torres. Shout out, Omar.
Come on, man.
Omar,
Not
okay.
true.
Omar, you want to go ahead and introduce our guest today? I'm excited, boy. Woo!
Oh, we got somebody awesome. All right. Okay. If y'all been listening to the podcast for a while now, you know, I'm an Oklahoma State fan. Okay. Go Pokes. That's what I'm talking about. And today we have somebody that we grew up with. Okay. Back in the day, it was in the apartments. We used to bug each other back and forth. Hey, man, let's play. Let's play. You know what I remember, man? One of the biggest highlights was because it was around that time where WWF was a big deal, and we would play wrestle. And this dude would just toss us around, be like, yeah, ah. And this dude be like, ah, ah. But nah, it was all good. It was fun times. But even then, we also went to school together. Cool dude, always been a cool dude. But yeah, dude, we haven't really talked much since then. But I've been keeping up. All right, I've been keeping up. Like we had our last guest was Corey, and I was talking about Facebook and how crazy it is. Like we'll just look through there and be like, "Oh, my dude, he's doing really awesome." And for us, we like to point that out and show everybody, like, "Hey, no matter what situation you're in, you can grow up and get there, do things, do big things." And with that, Kye, this dude, big football star growing up from Guthrie, Oklahoma, being the top dog as a running back, going into Oklahoma State after that, and now he's been doing a lot of things after that. I've saw that you were working with veterans in the suicide prevention stuff. I saw that you were working with kids at some point. I saw that you were now doing some account consulting for a blood institute. Dude, let's dig into it, man. Tell us about your journey, dude.
Well, first off, thank you for having me. Brian had reached out to me a while ago around September, and you know, as I look on it now, I always thought I didn't have time, but I feel like that's not true. You always have time to make time for things that matter to you. So I'm grateful that I actually really like pushed down and made the time to be here. So once again, thank you guys for being patient with me. I
Oh,
appreciate
we
that.
appreciate
you, bro.
you. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
But yeah, man, like you were saying, so I was previously working with the Army National Guard, working with suicide prevention. So what I did, what I was the suicide prevention coordinator. So I'd go out to different units and brief them on suicide awareness as well as ideations, and seeing the tales of suicide within their units. And then we also did a unit risk inventory, which we sent these like surveys to the units to see where they were at, where they were struggling with, if it was like mentally, financially, emotionally, spiritually, and we would just go in and brief them on certain things and resources that would help them out. Um, I actually left that position and I started working with OBI, which is our Blood Institute. I just took over the Norman and Moore account, so I'm always in Norman around like the University of Oklahoma. Something that I always thought that, you know, I wanted to have something where I wanted success, but I realized with this position, I really just wanted to have something with purpose, with contribution and, to be able to contribute to something better than myself and just be bigger than me.
Absolutely. Love that, man.
Yes, sir.
That's so awesome to hear, brother. I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, and that's one of the things. I mean, getting older and stuff, we ain't that old, but going through different journeys, you'll find things that, you really enjoy doing. And it's most of the time, it's helping others, man. I'm
Hmm.
the same way, Brian's the same way. That's why we have this podcast. Because we
Absolutely.
want to be able to, help others that might be in similar situations or, personal training, whatever it is, to get them
Or
in a
for
better.
me, if I can add one more thing in there, for me, it's mental health, because a lot of people don't have somebody to talk to, and whenever we have people on here, it's just pretty much to have that conversation with folks who usually don't have that conversation, and maybe they do want to tell what they've been through, because a lot of times people don't. get to vent to anybody or to talk to anybody. They don't feel comfortable with doing it or feel judged or maybe just don't have that person to talk
Hmm.
to. So that's another reason why I really enjoy this podcast because again, it's just having that conversation amongst each other and not really it's not really an interview, nothing like that. We're just having a conversation and seeing how
Right.
you're doing, what you've been up to, and how life's been treating you, you know?
And I think the
Yes,
main
sir.
thing with, men's mental health is that stigma that, if you show that you're being vulnerable, it's a sign of weakness. In order to show that you're vulnerable is a sign of strength. Very much powerful, very much powerful.
Yes, sir. So,
And that's what I tell a
so,
lot of the young adults nowadays. You know, the kids I work
so
with is like, "Hey, man, you're doing a great thing
yeah.
by opening up to me, first of all, because that's a big step in the right direction." I mean, when I
Hmm.
was your age, I wasn't trying to do it. I'm just 30 years old now, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do it. So you doing that is a great step in the right direction, man.
But before all that, let's talk about your journey, how you started, where you started, and what, led you up to now, the Blood Institute.
Well, I'll kind of just, start, my upbringing. Growing up in Guthrie, it was predominantly a certain race, but there was other races in the mix as well. So I can't say that, I grew up adjusted or adhered to a certain, anything. I feel like Guthrie was a town that kind of loved everybody. And, that love, stayed within me. I was grateful to have the opportunity to, for one, be a really good athlete. Have the success that I had at, Guthrie and were able to take my abilities to Oklahoma State. The most important thing for me in that point was what I thought at that point was, to make it to the league. But, you know, when I went to OSU, I realized that it was really to graduate because that's something that nobody can take away from me. So I don't know if you know the story. When I was at OSU, highly touted, player coming out of Guthrie, top player in the state of Oklahoma, a number 6 athlete in the nation, ESPNU top 150 43. That's just something I'll never forget. So it's easy for me to just remember that. Getting offered by, multiple schools, having an opportunity to go visit, grateful for that. But choosing Oklahoma State to stay close to home, just feeling like there was a lot of things that were going on with the program, and I just wanted to be a part of something that was new.
Yeah, yeah.
So I get there and, was able to, compete for a starting position. Fortunately, got hurt my redshirt freshman year, tear my ACL, MCL, meniscus, hamstring, calf, nerve damage. Doctor said I came about 2 to 3 inches from tearing my nerve. And if that would have happened, they wouldn't have been able to stop the bleeding. It didn't have to be an amputation of my leg. So
Wow. That
going through that, going through that
that is bad.
as an
As an
18-year-old
18-year-old.
kid. And
Mhm.
then, I had surgery the day before my 19th birthday, never forget it. And, going through that, it's like I've worked so hard my whole life for something. And to see it be taken away, my mental is like, there's nothing left to do. There's nothing left to live for, in that sense. So, leading up until I was able to come back and compete, I really got bad with drugs and alcohol. Something I'm not ashamed to talk about because it just happened. And it was stuff that happened to me.
Mhm.
And, that's just something that I don't shy away from if anybody asks, because like you guys said, somebody could be going through the similar situation that I've gone through. And who am I to, hold this type of knowledge and not share with others for them to better themselves?
Yes. Yes, yes.
So as I was able to, go through everything I did at that, can I cuss on here?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, just making sure. So as I was going through that, I realized, looking back now, I was such a shitty person. Disliked who I was. Lied, cheated. I probably stole. There's no telling. But nonetheless, I still continued to work hard and try to push and to come back and play. 2010, we finished the Alamo Bowl. And I go to Coach Gundy and I'm like, hey, I want to try it again. And he was just like, I was kind of waiting for you to ask. I will never forget that first day back in off-season football. I remember Coach Rob Glass, the GOAT, shoveled off 80 yards from the field. This before we had our indoor. I couldn't make 2 gassers, and I really questioned, like, is this what I'm really supposed to do? But luckily, he saw the fire in me. He saw who I was as a person as well as an athlete before I got hurt. So he really instilled in me, just keep pushing. It's going to suck, but you're not going to regret it at the end of the day. And I'm glad that he gave me that push because I was able to come back. I was able to play, was actually the starting fullback for our first ever outright Big 12 championship. And like I said, why going to OSU, that was something that was the first time that it ever happened in the school's history. And I was grateful to be a part of that. So, as I was going through, college, still having that alcohol issue, it just was what it was. Like, we had a saying at OSU, win or lose, we still booze. And it was just apparent in my life, and it was just big in my life because it got to a point to where that was just my life. Like
Yeah.
I didn't see myself without that. Um, was able to graduate. Luckily, was able to graduate. I actually just happened to see my transcripts the other day, and I was just like,
Skimming.
and that was over what 2013 is 2025. I look back on it now, and I'm really grateful for that because, like I said, my story, has become like almost like a lure in a legend of OSU. I've had people come up to me and you just have a regular conversation. I introduce myself, and they're like, "Wait, you're such and such," and like they know about my stories. I didn't think of myself as like a big deal, but I also, didn't realize that, as I was trying to be motivated in order to come back, I was truly inspiring. And the difference between motivation and inspiring is motivation is short term, but inspiring is forever. And I
Yes.
really feel that, with that story and everything that I've gone through, I've been able to, inspire people like, man, he really went through that and he was able to still be here with a smile on his face and, just continue to carry yourself with so much gratitude and grace. And I think that's important, a lot of people make mistakes in their
Yes.
lives, and they stay so connected on that to where they stop growing and they hinder themselves. It's kind of like a book that I read, the book of forgiving, where the practice was, in order to help yourself forgive somebody, you take a rock about the size of your palm and you just squeeze it as hard as you can, and you realize I'm hurting myself when I can just let it go.
Yep. Well, I love
And
that.
I think that's one thing I had to really like learn to understand is to forgive myself for who I was and not for
Yeah.
who I am at this moment.
Yes.
Yeah. And
So,
that
Kai, really
go ahead.
quick
Go ahead.
before we move forward, so you know how you got hurt and then you came back, and your coach seen the fire in you. But what kept that fire in you, or what kept you going? And finishing off and still doing those workouts. What was motivating you to keep going, or inspiring you, or help build that fire inside of you to keep going?
It was really two things, honestly. The first thing is I kind of felt like I let my family down, my town down. There would have been so much grace. People don't come back from these injuries. Doctors were so worried about me even, walking again. They weren't even worried about me playing football. So I think that was the main thing that they were concerned with, and which rightfully so. I understand. As a 19, 20-year-old kid at the time, becoming a grown man, the bigger picture isn't in my perspective yet, but just a momentary picture is right there. And I would say the second thing is the reason why I wore nine. If you're familiar with Cal Pal from Guthrie, he was a great person who ended up fighting hard to overcome cancer. Unfortunately, he succumbed to it after he graduated in high school, 2006. I knew that I wanted to honor him by wearing his number. And, to this day, I have a cousin actually who is at San Diego State who wears his number, who
Oh, I
wears that,
got
who
I
wears my,
got I
excuse
got
me,
goosebumps from you.
sorry.
I got goosebumps
He,
from you talking like.
he wears my number, but then I told him why I wore the number, and that means that much more to him.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
That's awesome.
can I run one date through your head and just let me know
Yeah,
if anything comes through your head? October 29th, 2011.
of course.
So, like I said, I feel like this would really. I'm sorry, I didn't really know about it, but I was doing some research today. So, I mean, you just told about your story, how you came from Guthrie, and you was top dog. I mean, like you said, your accolades through the roof, and then you go to OSU. Your freshman year, right? You got hurt.
Hmm. Hmm.
Out 2 years.
Hmm.
Come back, and then I know it's against Baylor.
Hmm.
Was this at the bowl?
So it was homecoming.
It was, oh, even better. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was homecoming. And I'll never forget the play. It was Brown Right. It was like Brown Right, 23 leak, something, something like that. So the funny thing is, we had ran that play before, and Whedon had actually missed me in the flats. I was wide open because you got Blackman running the post, and he's double covered with the safety over the top. So we get to the sideline, and I remember the OC at the time, Coach Munkin, he calls down, and he's telling us, put Kyle on the phone. And I kind of look like he want to talk to me, and he gives me the phone. He's like, "Hey, you were fucking open. We're going to come back to that play. We're going to get you in the motherfucking end zone." I was like, all right, cool. Click. So we score, and then the play gets called back. That next play, leak out in the flats, touchdown, and then, it's all said and done. And the great thing about that is whenever you go up to OSU, I don't know now because there's a new regime. Whenever you go into our training table where all the athletes eat, we have like a wall of like our journey for the Big 12 championship. And there I am, 21 years old, like having my arm over another teammate, just looking at pictures right there from that day.
That's awesome.
I don't like so it wasn't just there it is, man. That was a big deal, brother. Like I said, what you went through and what you overcame to getting in that end zone, man. How did that feel to do that at that day? All those feelings. What did you feel? I mean, just crossing it and just in that moment.
I think at that time, doing so much in high school, and overcoming the things that I had overcame at that time, it was like a testament to my resilience and a testament to my faith. Um,
Absolutely.
I had really gotten to a point where I was like, am I being punished for something? But you can't ask why. You just have to know, like, trust the process. You
Yes.
know, um, everything is part of the path, man. Like even the struggle is part of the path, and I didn't understand that as a 21-year-old kid. Now I'm sitting here 35 and I understand that 1,000%. It was all that was always meant to happen. It's like I practice a philosophy called Stoicism, and they talk about amor fati, and it means love fate. Love the things that happen to you. It doesn't like if you can change them. And
Yeah.
like I said, looking back, that's really what it was all about, and it still is.
Man, that's awesome. That really is inspiring to me. Like I said, I was looking at it. I was doing a little homework today. I usually don't do it. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I was doing a little homework today. I was like, man, this dude
Totally.
right
Yeah.
here, boy, you got me inspired, brother. Like honestly, that is a really great story, brother. I really do love it, and I appreciate you again for being on here and sharing your story
Yeah,
and just
man.
hearing all of this, man. That's so freaking awesome. And I usually don't do this, but I did it for you. I've only worn it one other time, but man, I'll give you a little peek of what I got on today for you, brother. So, you know,
Go.
I'll
Yo,
shoot them
go.
up for you, brother.
Yo.
Shout out.
Well, I already see what Omar got on. I see what he got on. I
Shout
was
out,
like,
bro.
soon as he came on, I say, yeah, that's what's up right
That's
there.
that's all love, brother. That's all love.
Yeah. No, but no, that's straight up inspirational. But looking back, I could see like the pressure going through the injury. Like there's a bunch of other student athletes that go through that same situation, but don't know exactly how to navigate that. And you were able to do that. And I hope, people listen to your story and know that, hey, you got it. Get through it and you'll be on the better side. But like you said, keep pushing. Like coach said, keep pushing.
Hmm.
And
Um,
can I also add one more thing to this before we move forward on anything else? So, of course, I mean we've seen your hard work on the field, but also sources tell me that the heart and soul of the team and an emotional leader who had respect of everyone in the locker room. I mean, that's a big deal, brother. How does that feel for you to know that? I mean, you were that respected in there, and to have that kind of leadership inside that with such big names that you did have in there at the time.
I think it was important, that everybody that was within the organization saw my struggle. They saw, they saw me suffer. And suffering is such a valuable teacher in your life. It really shows you what you can withstand, and what you can really endure in your life. And I feel like I'm a testament of that, at that age. So whenever I was able to come back and play, I shit you not, every morning I was in a good mood. When I for camp, 2 day camp is like 7 in the morning to 7 p.m. I sang the same songs every morning. Like, why are you so happy? I said, because I know what it feels like to not have it.
Yep.
I know what it feels like to be told that I'll never be able to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K again. I said, so I gotta be grateful for the soreness. I gotta
Yeah.
be grateful to be tired. I gotta be grateful, oh dang, I got a bruised shoulder. I'm grateful for that.
Yep.
And that whole season was just so special because it showed triumph, but it also had some tragedy. Unfortunately, we lost four people due to a plane crash. Our women's head basketball coach and his assistant, as well as two others, respectfully. And also at the time we had a coach whose wife was going through cancer,
Mm.
and when she was going through it, that's when we went to A&M. So we were down 20-3 at half. We come back and win by one, and like it was just that moment we knew like, okay, this season is special,
Yep.
and we were able to accomplish a lot of great things at Oklahoma State. Hopefully, to where we laid the blueprint, the foundation down for the next generation. as Coach Gunny and staff, have been exited from the program. Hopefully, the new guy that comes in, keeps that same camaraderie, keeps that same tradition that we've been able to build as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's crazy. But dude, that's a crazy spot to be on or be at also. A running back for Oklahoma State. Do you know how many freaking amazing running backs are not only currently playing, but also,
So, what,
you
time out,
know,
time out.
the
Omar,
greatest very
can I
what
say, can I say
oh
something?
something.
So,
See, I get carried
shout
away.
out. Sorry. So, shout out. I mean, he did. Kai did come in as a running back, but
Yep.
so you got to throw something else in there. He had to switch positions to a fullback, brother. So that how did that feel too?
Honestly, it was difficult because I had to gain like 10 to 15 pounds in the summer. And if you can understand how hard that is as you're running, so my caloric intake was ridiculous. But it was one of those things where I asked the coach, I said, if I, move this position, will I be able to play? Now let me mind you, I'm a fullback in a spread, no huddle offense. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't think that had ever been really seen before. I guess I'm the quote unquote beginner of the cowboy back that Oklahoma State had for these past few years. But with that being said, I just shifted my mindset, and I embraced it. I was like, okay, I felt pain in order to come back from what I've come back from. So everybody else is going to feel that. I always played angry. I always played with passion. I wore everything. I wore my heart on my sleeve. And it's just like one thing I used to tell my running backs, no matter if you're special teams, no matter if you're in like, for like, if we're up 60, play hard.
Yep.
Always play hard. Leave no doubt who the better person is on the field. And luckily I was able to get to them, and we were able to have great success within that running back unit.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That is amazing, brother. That really is.
that's the same stuff I tell my kids. My kids are they play sports. The current thing they're into is jujitsu, and they just had their little competition this past weekend. And dude, those little kids freaking go. And my dude came out first match, bloody nose, and he was upset. And I was like, dude, it's okay. It's okay. Come back. But he was upset because he lost. He wasn't upset because of the bloody nose. And I was like, all right, dude, hey, use that as fuel on the next one. And
Hmm.
dude, he just kept going. And the
Good.
same with the other one. I was like, dude, that hurt. Go back.
So
Don't let it
one
happen
more
again.
thing. If it's okay, I'm sorry. Hi, can we go back? So, do you feel like uh how you became to be such a great athlete was because of maybe something that happened in the apartments? You were maybe around a bunch of Mexicans who just roughed you up a little bit extra, and so that made you tougher.
Yeah,
You know
right. We
what?
were little
I'll
rat.
you know what? I'll bite. Yeah. But any type of competition is going to elevate anybody. Whenever you have that gene of you want to be great and it's already in you, anything is a competition. Oh, I'll race you to the light pole. Oh, rock paper scissors shoot.
Mm,
So just having that competitive nature within you already, is something special. And also having the right people around you that are able to bring that out of you. I
yeah.
remember my cousins used to rough me up quite a bit, as a kid. And they were like, I used to be a baby. I was a crybaby. I didn't like, I was getting picked on, older cousins, and you don't like that. But now I look on and I'm like, damn, they really did, prepare me for, when I got older and things got hard and it just became that much easier. It was all preparation. It was all mental
Mhm.
preparation. And,
Oh, yeah.
with that, one of my favorite things that Muhammad Ali said, he said, I hated training. He said, I
Mm,
hated every minute of it. But I told myself, suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. And that's a testament to, his mindset and how great he wanted to be. And I feel like I had the same thing within me as well.
good.
Yeah,
Well, hey, you're welcome.
that's
You're welcome.
perfect
I don't
right there.
want to take all the credit, but you're welcome, buddy.
All right, dude. You done getting pumpkin,
I was on crying like,
pedigree,
"Mom, help!"
stone cold stunnered and stuff. But yeah, no, but yeah, going through that. What is one big, um, I guess, tip or advice you would give somebody that maybe going through a similar struggle where, they're a student athlete, they got all this pressure on and they feel like they're not good enough, like that imposter syndrome. What kind of words or advice would you have for them?
I think the first thing we do is just breathe. Um,
Mm,
Sometimes we have to, count to 10 and give ourselves a second to react to certain situations that are happening instead of Instead of reacting, emotionally, think logically, stop with, what you think is the right response and really think on, okay, something is happening to me. If I give this response, is it going to matter the next day? And if you feel like it is, then really sometimes some things are better left unsaid. But to answer your question, I would say everything's going to be okay. Like I said, 19-year-old me didn't understand that everything was going to be okay. 20-year-old me didn't understand that, everything is going to be okay. I look back on it and I just smile with gratitude. Um, because like I said, it was a point in my life I was like, man, I'll never get through this. But I also had to understand is if the journey, when you're going through a journey, the problems that you face are the journey. They become the journey. You don't deviate from that, and that's what makes really stronger to see you go through trials and tribulations. As a person, as a man, as a woman, you want to be tested. You want to be tested in life because that makes it that much sweeter. If
Yeah.
you have the easy life, then you really like what do you appreciate?
Mhm.
When you have lost, what do you appreciate that you've gained? There's good, there's bad, you have to understand both. It's like yin and yang, black and white, light
Yeah.
and dark. It just
Yep.
is.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. There you go. Hear that, Brian?
I'm
Well, you were
learning.
you
I'm
were an
learning.
athlete, so you don't know anything about that, dude. But,
Couldn't y'all?
no.
Shots fired,
So,
man.
after, college, what were your next moves? What happened?
So I had moved around a little bit. My favorite stop, I guess, I was actually living in Muskogee, coaching with Coach Watkins when he was up there, as well as Keaton Callens. Um, that town, I think we lost Brian.
That's fine, dude. He'll be back.
I'll say that time in my life was very important to me. And like I told you before, I'm not one of those people that is afraid to tell my story. Um, I went through a very deep depression whenever I was up there, to the point to where I'd tried to end everything. I'll never forget that, and it had gotten so low in my mind and my heart that I felt like I had disrespected my ancestors. And so, as I'm going through this amount of suffering, that's when I kind of had like an ego death, and had like a spiritual awakening to become a better person. It was more of a self-awareness thing, that I was able to gain. Okay, well, in my mind, it's like, okay, I'm A, B, C, and D, but I can be better. I'm aware of who I am now, so I can be better. And I would say, it's around 2016, 2017, actually, truly the beginning of, my journey, my spiritual journey, my spiritual awakening, understanding that it's not about me. This world is not about me. So I had such an ego that I was always about me, 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 instead of we, instead of they, instead of them. And it was just me, and it was just me. And that's when I really began to grow as a person. And that's when I really, started doing yoga, started doing meditation. And I found a philosophy, which I have a few notes if you don't mind. It's called Stoicism. And it's really helped me in my journey, in my path as a man, to understand, who I can be and what I am. So Stoicism is a practical philosophy about focusing only on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and reactions, and accepting what you can't, to live a virtuous, rational, and resilient life, finding peace by aligning your will with nature and developing inner strength through wisdom, courage, justice, and self control. It's about building character to achieve lasting happiness, not by chasing external pleasures, but by mastering your inner world. And at that time, you have all these friends, flashing out, the nice cars, and the jewelry. Somebody that can't keep up is trying to keep up, but like, that it wasn't making me happy, because at that point I was allowing the outside world to give me the validation I was looking for, instead of looking more into myself to find that. And with the four virtues that it talks about, wisdom, courage, justice, temperance, all four of those are very vital, in the philosophy. And it really helps you to understand, you can be a good person. You let me phrase that. It helps you understand, am I a good person? Am I a bad person? If you're a bad person, you're self-aware of it now. And if you're a good person, you've always been good. But also, it makes you understand more of what do you really want to be more of? Do you want to be more of a good person? You go this way. If you're okay with being a bad person, you go the other way. And there's no judgment if you want to be either or.
Dude, let me tell you, I didn't realize any of that until, well, I guess I had to a point to an extent, but once I had kids, I'm like, "Dude, this is not just about me. This is about people around us." I even tell my kids, I'm like, "Dude, uh-uh, this isn't your world. I mean, everybody's living in it, man, okay? You're not the only one in here, okay? You gotta think about what's going on and, respect each other. How we gonna have a good life if we're always gonna be, mean to each other or something like that?" And but that is something that you also have to look inside and be like you're saying, is realizing that is, am I really a good person? Or, am I doing this for a reason or what is it? Like, cause then it kind of brings that real you out and like, okay, now let's do better. Like you're saying,
Hmm.
everything you reflect on and you try to elevate from that. Um, I know a lot of people go through depression and they don't know how to navigate that and they get stuck in a place and they go towards medication and things like that. But simple things like you're saying is meditate, you know, think about the priorities in life and notice, hey, not only is your mom and dad gonna be like, "What the heck, man? I lost my kid." But maybe your friends, everybody around you, you're an impact, you know? So just find ways to get better, and just talking it out.
Absolutely.
And I know with me personally, that's the hardest thing I've ever had to tell my parents that I had attempted on my life, but I had to be transparent and be honest about that
Mhm.
because I know they respect me so much and I respect them as well. And I respected them enough to let them know what was going on with the issue and, to be able to also go to therapy. Therapy
Mhm.
was very beneficial for me. Very beneficial for me. I was what's the word I'm looking for? I was afraid to go to therapy because I didn't want to know about my issues because I wasn't ready to stop doing what I was doing at that time. But once I was able to, see myself in a different light, really become self-aware of who I truly am, everything changed.
Mhm.
I began to live, with such a lightness and, that I didn't understand that I already had in me. Like you guys said before, he's like, we grew up with Kai. He's been a good dude. I was never self-aware that I just thought that I just knew that that's how you're supposed to be. You be kind to others, you respect others, but you don't take no bullshit from nobody. And I've always lived by that. But as you get older, you understand. Okay, hey, this is how I was. This is what I was speaking. This is what I was thinking. This is how I was acting. I've always had that within me. I just now understand what it is.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Oh yeah, man.
Well said.
But even yeah, for real, dude, because it does. I mean, and then there's that stigma with growing up, or even in certain cultures. Like, you don't need that. You don't need to talk to nobody. You're good. Keep pushing through. You're alive. But no, man. Sometimes we need somebody to talk to, and sometimes we need somebody to talk to that isn't related to us. Doesn't have anything. Because there's things that we can communicate with a therapist that that would come out better than, communicating it to maybe your spouse or something like that. It might come out a different way, and then you start something else out, and then it goes downhill from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, and we've had a therapist on here, and we're all about mental health, making sure if there's any struggles, man, talk to somebody.
Absolutely.
You're not happy? Let's figure out why. Talk to somebody. And, you know, don't worry about what anybody else is thinking or what they might see of it. You don't even have to tell anybody. But even then, just like worry about yourself and try to get yourself better.
I'm low key about to trip y'all out real quick. If you think about it, we actually grew up with a TV show that gave us that opportunity to see how like that friend you go to and you talk to about your issues and he helps you with it. Do you think you know what that cartoon is?
No, can't think of it.
Hey Arnold.
Oh,
And
nope.
I thought about this the other day. Think of it like this, he has a football head, but his head is an all-seeing eye. And whenever there's an issue that goes on, it's always, "Oh, hey Arnold." And he comes in, he always is ready to talk to somebody about the issues that they're going through.
Oh, word. I didn't know.
Dang.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Because it also gives it a diverse group of, people, African American, Asian, there's the poor, there's the rich, and they all coexist and they get along.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang, that's crazy. Yeah,
Dang, you weren't lying.
I think a little bit.
Jeez.
that's fine. I love that. That's cool.
Wow.
I wasn't thinking, Hey Arnold. I was gonna say like Scooby Doo or something. I don't know.
Yep. What do you think about that, Brian?
What's that?
About depression,
Oh, but
therapy,
I
mental health?
I'm pro therapy. I'm pro meditating. I'm pro taking a step back and just breathing, like Kai said. Like I said,
Hmm.
forgiving yourself and giving yourself grace. Some days you just ain't got it all in you. Just give yourself grace. You did good by getting up. You did good by going to work. Or whatever it might have been. Give yourself grace. You're here. You're doing what you got to do. That's something I've recently learned with this podcast. Honestly, I forgot which lady it was. Sometimes you just got to give yourself grace. Sometimes we don't think about it. We're too hard on ourselves. I know I am. We're too hard on ourselves. But
Hmm.
you're doing a great job, man. Just don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself grace and forgive yourself. Like you said, let go of that rock. Let go of that. What are you hanging on for? Let it go.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time
You
with
hard
that,
on
but that's
yourself and tolerant with others.
absolutely, absolutely. Because there's certain ways. Something I've always, or something I've currently been working on is, be careful how you talk about yourself. You wouldn't want nobody talking to you like that, so don't talk to yourself like that. That's why anytime anybody says anything negative about themselves, I'm like, hey man, don't talk about yourself like that. You don't need to do that. You don't want me talking to you like that. Don't talk to yourself like that.
Hmm.
So you guys know, or hopefully know that I'm pro mental health. If anybody ever needs anybody to talk to, I'm here for them no matter what. Even if I don't like you, I'm gonna talk to you, okay? Because it ain't worth the other side of it, man. Because it's I wouldn't wish that on anybody, man. Because it's
You're right.
the downs are down. The downs are down
Hmm.
and the ups are ups. And a lot of times people don't see it. Like I said, you can see Kai like, oh, Kai, he's straight, he's good. And next thing you know, Kai's not good. Same with me. You always see Brian with a smile. He's chill, he's cool, he's having a good time. There's nothing wrong with him. But man, you never know what somebody's going through. So like I said, be nice to people.
Yeah,
Be kind. Give them grace.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're going through.
that's
I
true.
definitely agree. I definitely agree with what you say whenever you mention that, be careful how you speak about yourself because you guys know what the two most powerful words in the dictionary are. I am. Because what you say after that is what you become. So if you're saying I am stupid, I am this and that, especially when you align it with an emotional attachment to said I am this, I am that, then the universe is going to give you what you speak on as well as you put your emotions into what it is you're saying. So if emotion like I am rich, I am brave, I am strong, and I have the emotion attached to it, the universe has no choice but to show me that I am and give me what I ask for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a strong believer in that as well. So that's why, like I said,
Putting it
I'm,
out
I'm
there.
always telling Omar, he's like, I'm not smart, dude. I said, dude, shut up. Omar's smart. He's so smart, dude. And he always like, I don't know, bro, be nice to
Yeah, you're
yourself.
right though.
Be nice to
I
yourself.
do.
Talk right to yourself,
I
man.
do that.
And I
You're
always
right.
I,
Hmm.
I don't mean to get on to him, but I'm always like, bro, yes, you're smart. You're smart. You can do it. You can do it. Like you said, there's this poster always in my classroom that says, I can't or I can. Either way, you're right. Because whatever comes
Hmm.
after like you said, it's gonna be what you do. So always, I can, I can, I can. You can do it.
Cool. Yeah.
Drop that
You
mic
talk
on that.
about right there.
Drop the mic on the mother truckers. Who wants some? I'll
All that
drop
Positive
it.
good
talk.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, talk
Oh,
about
excuse me.
positive talks. Something I did see for Mr. Kye Staley is athletes with the appetite podcast. Are you still doing that? How's that going for you?
I kind of taken a step back. So I've taken a step back a little bit from it, mainly because I feel that I don't do it any justice as being the host. I would love to produce it instead. And I would love to bring somebody else on and have a different voice, be able to, tell a story and, be able to do these interviews and have the energy to do it. Right now, my energy is going into like, my new job, being a good boyfriend for my current girlfriend, giving
Shout
her
out.
all the energy and yeah, a shout out to my lady, love of my life. um and giving her the energy and the respect and the time that she deserves as well. And then also I have a pie business that I've been doing for about 5 or 6 years now. It's called Eddi's Pies by Kai. So that story is insane, man.
Can we hear that?
So it was around 20, of course. So it was around 2020 during COVID. This is when, like I said, I've had a few jobs in between, and it's just because I hadn't found what I truly am wake up every morning and passionate about, and I really feel like I found it with this position that I am right now. So I was working at this country club, and I was in a weird mood, and I'm about to rhyme, and I'm not trying to. I was in a weird mood, and I was like, I'm gonna make a pie, and I really didn't know why. So I was like, okay. I go to the store, I get stuff to make it. I try it. I'm like, "Man, okay, this ain't too bad." So this is the trippy part. So I go to work and I give it to one of my coworkers. His name is Brian, and he
Shout
tries
out.
it. He said, "Man," he said, "This is pretty good. What are you making pies now? What is it, Kye's pies?" And I was like,
Okay.
"Kye's pies." I was like, "Huh." I said, "Okay, bet." Very like as soon as I got off work, I went back to the store and made another one. And I ended up like making all different kind of crazy flavors. So I was like, you know what? I'm having so much fun with this at 30 years old at the time. I found joy in making desserts. And it was something that was so like small, but yet so satisfying to my soul.
Hmm.
I thought that was such a great thing because not for one, but for one, everybody would try and like give me opinions on it. But for two, I had so much fun doing it, and it like gave me like a new like zest for life, a rejuvenation.
There you go.
And so I was gonna name it Kai's Pies, but I was like, nah, I mean, it would be a great play on my name, but I was just like, I want to honor my grandmother. So my grandmother passed away due to breast cancer whenever I was 8 years old.
Hmm.
And at the time, my mother and I and my sister, we were living with her. And so I always used to watch her cook, love watching her cook. I asked her, why you putting this in there? Why you putting that in there? And I've always been a curious kid when it came, to the kitchen. So one day, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna really do this. I go and tell my mom the name that I'm going to name it, and she gets teary eyed.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, it's because of, that's her mom, of course. And she was like, well, yeah, that. She said, but your uncle, whenever he was a kid, had a dream to have a pie business, and he was going to name it Edda's Pies. And so after that, I kind of felt like it was truly destiny.
Bro, I'm saying this guy just, bro, back up off me, man. You keep giving me goosebumps, bro. Chill out.
Hey, I'm just this is real life. I'm just being transparent, man.
I appreciate it.
I told my lady, I was like, I don't want to say that I'm like divine, but I feel like there's always something that's going on to where I have a good story to tell, and it's not a
Yes.
lie.
Yeah.
Like I'm even my coworkers like, you tell stories so well. You're like a great storyteller. But I said, but these are just facts of life.
Yeah.
It just is that way.
And that's why
But
they hit so
that's
hard,
what
man.
yeah, and that's what I love. Like whenever I'm out somewhere, hearing about other people's paths that they've been on.
Mhm.
To me, that's why you're meant to travel. You're meant to see how other people live their lives in different countries. You're meant to interact with different people to gain knowledge from somebody else. A wise man knows he knows nothing. So in my eyes, I'm always ready to learn something new and understand and be a part of a different culture in any way, shape, or form, to learn something that of value in my life that I can pass down, whenever I get older or probably the next day.
Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. Hey, you got any gluten-free options?
Unfortunately, I don't. So I actually have 28 flavors, but I only make nine.
28.
Nine?
Ooh,
Only make nine because it's
look
just
at that
me.
9.
Look,
So
they look so good too, man. I was checking them out, man. They do look good.
chocolate mint, I got just here. You got to hear these real quick. Chocolate mint key lime, pineapple confetti, raspberry red velvet, peanut butter pumpkin latte, banana cream, peach cobbler, salted caramel carrot cake, and salted caramel sweet potato. So eight. No, there's one more. No, I think eight.
Dang, shout out.
Whoa,
Shout out.
those are
Man,
some
I want
crazy
some.
but tasty sounding freaking
Yeah,
pies
man.
right there. Hey, man, you deliver
I'm,
to Colorado?
I wish. What part of Colorado you in? We were just up there in Aurora
Oh, I'm in
for my birthday.
Colorado Springs, about an hour away, I think. Yeah.
So
Um,
Aurora, Colorado Springs, like up there or up here? Is it up here
uh,
or this way?
it'll be further south because yeah, we go.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, man. We went to Denver for my birthday, my girlfriend and I, and it was a blast. I loved it. It was hella expensive, but I loved it.
Yeah, that is true. Denver, yeah, it can get pretty expensive. What y'all do? Was there like the spot that you liked with your? Because I know with the podcast that you were doing or you are doing, yeah, the appetite, and you do all these things with like restaurants and whatnot. Was there
Mhm.
somewhere in Denver where you're like, spot was pretty good?
So I can't remember the name of it. My girlfriend knew somebody in Oklahoma whose son owned this restaurant. It was like they're up for a Michelin star.
Oh, wow.
It was an Italian restaurant, and I can't remember the name of it. When I say they had some eggplant shit on, looked like eggplant shit on a plate, and it was fantastic. Um,
Checks out.
like it honestly, best food I'd ever eaten. Had an opportunity to go look at the Red Rock amphitheater.
Yo.
Oh,
Died from hiking because I was at that time out of shape.
Oh,
We
yeah.
we got it. We
Elevation
got
too.
it right now. We got
Good.
it right now. We got it right now. But it was just like I said. It was an exciting time to see mountains, wake up to mountains, and
Mhm.
drive by the Denver Nuggets stadium and the Rockies, and to be a part of to be in a different place I've never been. It was cool. It was real cool.
Absolutely.
No, it's always cool to travel, man. I
Hmm.
was in I was in Germany for 4 years, so got to travel around Europe, and dude, so easy to travel and see different cultures, different
Yeah,
oh, man, it's so cool.
because everything's it's like a what, an hour drive in different countries like that,
And you only
or
have to
2 hours,
drive.
something like that.
You get on a train and it takes you anywhere.
Them trains are confusing, man. I don't like them trains over there.
Yeah,
You
they get
can't read
oh, yeah.
anything.
Brian went
I'm
up
like,
there,
bro, where's
and he
my
got
stop?
lost.
This is horrible.
You got
Brian was
lost.
Yeah.
I gotta hear that. You got lost. How'd you get lost?
They
I
had
don't even
almost come
know,
pick
man.
me up like an hour away. Like, bro, we're getting off. Come get us.
What happened, dude? Like, what
I've
was
been
like,
worried a little bit.
how'd you get
So
lost?
well, cause I was on the train. We were in a different part of Germany, and then I hop on the train, and it said, "Okay, this should take us to where we need to be." And then it was going not where we needed to be. It was going this way instead of that way. And then I kept talking to people like, "Hey, man, are we going here?" And they're like, "No, no, no, we're going here." But they weren't speaking in English. They were speaking other languages. And it was just like,
Das
No.
Sprachende Deutsch,
yeah, I
Sprachende
don't know
Deutsch.
yeah, I don't know that. I was just like, is
Go,
this my stop? No.
Google Translate would have been my best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should
Yeah, you
have,
gotta
but
do
I
that.
was
You gotta
full
do that.
panic. We need to get
Yep.
off.
Oh, actually, hold on a second. I got something. I just forgot this was right here. Hold on.
So, real quick, how could somebody get some of your Edda's pies?
So you'd have to just order it through my website, or if you know the owner creator, you can just shoot him a text.
Shout out.
I'm very nonchalant with it at the moment because I like it as a word of mouth business. So really, like if you know about it, you know about it, and if you don't, you want to know about it.
Ooh, I
There we
like
go.
that.
Ah,
So
that's
so
cool.
like you said, I was at OSU and I was actually able to win a few important games as well as high school. I forgot that these are
Ooh,
right here.
dang, look at him. Mhm.
The one my this is my all-time favorite. It's This will always be my all-time favorite, the one
Yep.
from Guthrie.
Shout out.
You grow up with these people, and you live your everyday lives with them, and to be able to accomplish something that had never been done once again at our high school at the time, it was special. If you were there in Guthrie whenever we were running for state, it was a special time. Like
Mhm.
that whole year, we felt like rock stars, and able to go out and beat these teams that were quote unquote unbeatable, and it was like, okay, whatever you say, Carl Albert, just to name a few.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh, come
it
on.
was it was fun. It was fun.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I think I went out to that game. I was still in the military, and I took leave, uh, when that happened, and I went
I
with
remember that
Brian.
game. I remember that game so vividly because we went out for warm-ups and both of the stands were full. When you go out for warm-ups, there people are just now getting in or whatever like that. We ran out and we just hear a thunder applause for us. When we look up, stands full,
Mm.
sidelines full, and everything was just it was so amplified. I think that's the most. Let me rephrase that. That's the second best like atmosphere for a high school game that I've played in that I've ever been a part of. Number one is our second round my senior year when we played Shawnee at home. Like we played them again for the second time, and they had Tucker Brown, their fifth year quarterback, come back, which actually him and I are pretty cool now.
Yeah. See, that's how it happens. No, I lied. I wasn't even in the military. Dude, I'm the same age as you. I was still at Luther High School. Yeah, we just went. Luther was never gonna win stuff like that, so I had experience somewhere else.
Watch out.
That's fair.
Back off the Luther Lions,
That's
man.
fair.
No,
That's
that's
fair.
awesome, though. That's yeah. That's that's a big freaking moment right there,
That
dude.
is.
I
That's
went
a
to state for bull riding and nationals for bull riding, but,
Hell
you
yeah.
know,
yeah.
they
There
See, I
wasn't
don't, I
no
don't think I ever
crowd
knew
like
it's
that.
right
that
here, bro.
though.
It's we
Right
athletes.
on.
Brian, you don't yeah,
Shut up.
get out of here, Brian.
Be nice to me, bro.
So, let's talk about your the Our Blood Institute, and what do you do exactly, and how's this, a big impact on you?
So what I ultimately do, so I've been in this role for going on a month. Still very new, to the position. I've had opportunities to, be around other accountants, to kind of see how they operate and, how they, manage, everything. So what I do is I go to, different accounts and set up blood drops for those accounts. Going in if I need to go in and, give informational presentations and, setting up for the numbers and, advertising for it, which we call barking. We're going out handing out flyers, getting on social media, advertising as well, so we can get our able to get our numbers up, so we can get our units the uh, to the hospitals that need them.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm still relatively new. I just found out what my blood type is, AB positive, and I guess that's a rare thing because you can use any. I think you can use any platelets, and then O negative is a universal donor. So something that I see it has so much importance that takes like 45 minutes. Like I was saying earlier, like, oh, I was telling, you guys, oh, I'll try to find the time. And, to me, like I said, that was kind of excuse like, well, I don't really want to do it. And that was BS. Like
Yeah.
you can always find a time when something really matters to you. And I'm
Absolutely.
just going to be transparent with you guys. You know what I'm saying? So, if it matters to you and you want to donate and, help somebody, help save a life, help somebody, daughter that's struggling in a hospital, son that's struggling in a hospital, you'll make that time.
Yeah.
And, I'm not trying to, make it sound like a guilt trip or anything, but you make time for what's important to you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
solid. My wife, Kelsey, she's always donating blood. Um, she even put in to donate what's the bone marrow?
Hmm.
And that's
Ooh,
that's extreme right there.
yeah, that
But
is.
yeah, you can do
So,
that
yeah.
too, but you had to put in. It's a crazy process. But yeah, no, it's definitely important, man. Any
Mhm.
kind of situation where it could be vital to somebody, dude, go for it. If you have the I mean, if you're able to. I mean, there's some people that,
Right.
have certain conditions, but yeah, for sure, man. Because
Absolutely.
yeah, giving blood, even in the military, they do that as well, through the units where it's like, "Okay, we're gonna do our blood drive. Let's do this." Dude, that's awesome
Mhm.
because you could be helping like you're saying, you can help some people out like that.
Help save
Hmm.
lives.
Um,
Absolutely.
yo, dude, and I had, what those things called? Dog tags with my blood type. I forgot what it is, and my wife always gets on, "How do you not know what your blood type is? You need
Yeah,
to
Imma
find
keep
this
my
out."
mouth shut.
Got
Imma
I
kids.
keep
agree
my
with
mouth
that.
Gosh,
shut 'cause I don't
dude,
know.
I gotta
That's like not knowing your social security number. Like
yeah.
that's something everybody should know. Like I don't need a card. I know mine off the top of my head. You gotta know your
Yeah.
blood type.
See, I
Yeah.
knew it at one point, I just forgot it, I don't know, getting knocked around too many times.
No, that's not an
It be
excuse.
like that sometimes.
No, that's no, that's awesome though, man, that's a big deal. And
Absolutely.
for your part, you do, like, the presentations, so, like, PowerPoints of the stats and, the promotions, like, how it would help and things like that.
Right.
That's awesome.
Make and really to drive, home, why it's so important, that this is happening. You're not just, doing it just because you're really helping to save lives. And at the end of the day, that's the number one, importance for the position. I'm helping to save lives.
Absolutely.
Kind of like I said earlier, I really thought that I really wanted was searching for success, and I just wanted really just purpose, significance, and have a contribution for something. And I truly found it.
Well,
There we
good, man.
go.
I'm happy to hear that. I
That's
really am.
awesome.
That's awesome to hear. Yes.
Exactly. I'm happy
Yes.
as
I'll
well.
show this off one more time for you, brother. Shout out. Let's go, Pokes. Gosh, dog it. Come on.
The Pokes. Oh, man, I've been hearing things that they're trying to pull some players. They're trying to show up this next year. What do you think about that?
The state, well, okay, I can go about this all day, but I'll be brief. The
Yeah, go
state
ahead.
that the state that college football is in right now has really become a nothing but a business. I really hope that kids are still, for one, putting the student before the athlete,
Mhm.
and really going to get those college degrees and having that, because money will run out, but a degree won't.
Yep.
And I tell anybody, if NIL was around whenever I was in college, I'd have been sponsored by Four Loco and Uber, because the way I was out there, acting a fool and not
Yeah.
needing to drive, oh yeah, I'd have been sponsored by Four Loco and Uber.
Yeah.
But I think that OSU is in good hands.
Mhm.
I really believe in this coach. I've had an opportunity to kind of do not a lot of research on him, but to see, his like pedigree, kind of where he's come from and what he's been around. I think that now that OSU is very adamant about NIL and really, paying the money and spending that bread, I think we will be successful, and I'll put money on we'll be successful real fast. I think we'll be able to compete this first year because players are going to come in from North Texas and come in from everywhere, and I think he's really going to allow them he's gonna pitch for them. Okay, we're gonna buy in. We're gonna show them we deserve to be here. We want to bring back, OSU to their former glory,
Yep.
and I'm excited. Yeah,
Yep.
I truly am excited.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I am too. I'm always
You, you know
I'm
excited
for
though.
cheering them on for you.
I love football.
for for a minute I couldn't find my OSU jacket, but I put it like in the back closet. It's in the front now. I mean, I'm loyal and true, but man, listen, them some of them games is tough to watch, man.
Yeah.
Same. But yeah, I'd wear it in the house, and then I'd have to take it off when I go because Colorado is now part of the Big 12.
Hmm.
So, I mean, they ain't that great either, but sheesh. No, man, that's awesome. Um, we're gonna wrap it up, but I got a few questions. Little quick questions.
Okay,
Okay.
With
what you
your
got?
with your pie stuff, what's your favorite one, dude?
Peanut butter pumpkin latte,
Ooh.
and it is sensational. So I actually have I came up with another one while I was in Colorado with the same filling, but I use a Biscoff cookie for the crust,
Ooh,
Ooh.
and it was unreal.
dangerous.
And I call it the Rocky Mountain, and I'll only make it if I'm in Colorado. So
Oh.
lucky for you,
Dude,
the next time I'm in Colorado, I'll have
oh,
to let you know.
Yeah.
dude, yeah. Sheesh. I love me some dessert, and man, some
Oh,
pies,
we can
dude.
tell. We can tell, fat boy.
Hey, 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 hey! Come on, man. I'm
Also,
working
before
on
we
it. Okay.
also before we get out of here, I'd like to give a shout out to my guy. His name is IQ Smith. So his hat brand is called At Peace Studios, and it's
Okay.
something that he
Ooh.
has really pushed forward, and he's really trying to do it big. He's based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So if you can, At Peace Studios, give him a
Nice.
follow. Yeah,
Yeah,
At Peace.
There we go.
absolutely.
No, that's
I'm
cool.
pop me one of those. I like that.
Going through your ventures of eateries, what was your favorite place so far? Was it the Colorado spot, or was there somewhere else?
It's been a few. Well, first off, I like to cook, and I'm not a big Italian eater because I feel like most of the stuff they make there I can make at the house.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But that place in Colorado, like I said, Michelin star rating wasn't an Italian place. Fantastic. I can't remember the name of it, and I don't want to holler at my girlfriend because I
Oh,
know she'll
yeah.
know. Like I'll find it and I'll get it back to you. But I'd say one of my favorite places in the city is probably the Loaded Bowl, which is a vegan spot, and Sushi Nico. I can never go wrong with sushi.
Ooh, yeah.
Sushi.
Shout out.
Hey, there's a good sushi spot out there?
But yeah.
I don't know, man.
Back off, dudes.
I was
Colorado,
in
they're high class.
Virginia next to a
Bro, you better
beach.
calm down. Don't forget where you came
Right.
from, little boy.
More
Don't forget where you
sushi.
came
Yeah,
from.
you're right, you're right. My bad. My bad, dude. My bad. No, that's cool. So, next question. Who do you consider the most influential teammate through high school or college?
You can't say
Well,
me.
for me, like I said, the reason why we're nine
Yep.
in college, Kale. So just to give you like a reason why I decided to wear his number. So as he was going through his chemotherapy, he used to have this bracelet, Live Strong, that became very popular by Lance Armstrong.
Mhm.
And so a few of our friends got Live Strong actually tattooed on us. And it's just a daily reminder, no matter what you're going through, still be strong and live your life because,
Mhm.
it could be taken away so fast and so instant. Don't leave anything for granted. Don't be on your deathbed with your coulda, shoulda, wouldas.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Well said. Yep.
See, that's why I like or no, I don't like I love
Love
doing
it.
this podcast, man.
Love it. Love it.
I get all this awesome, awesome information.
Mhm.
Things that not only I can, tell my clients, my future patients, but also, my kids. Those are some big words right there, man. Because, we don't think about the next moves sometimes. It's, these kids, YOLO kind of stuff. Like, no, man.
Shout
Come
out.
on.
Shout out.
Take care of yourself. No shout out.
No shout out.
Last question.
Oh, one more.
Yeah. What is one of the biggest life lessons you got from football?
The biggest life lesson I got from football, if you are 5 minutes early, you are late. And if you are 15 minutes early, you are on time. Always honor people's time. Time is something that we can never get back.
Mhm.
And, you know, it doesn't matter if it's for a job or relationship. I've always been adamant I'm not going to waste anybody's time. Um, because I remember when I used to do that because I was ignorant and, you know, wasting people's time. And instead of like letting, you know, them be and, you know, be better, I decided to take their time and waste it. And, you know, like I said, as you get older, you understand like, damn, I really did that. And like, I feel like crappy for that. And you don't want your time wasted. You want your time to be honored. And, you know, that's really big on me. Like if we have them like you guys, y'all were on time. You know, I was on time. I'm not going to dishonor y'all's time. Y'all could be doing something else or have somebody else on the show. So, like I said, once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to, you know, come on, you know, talk to you guys about things that I've been through, talk about Stoicism, which is a practice that I am deeply in love with because
Mhm.
it really has helped me become a better me and make me understand that, you know, it's not about me and things that are outside of my control, I really don't have to react to.
Yep.
You know, I think what you guys are doing is something that you should keep going. I don't I know you'll have, you know, many more guests and you'll continue to dive deep in everybody's stories. Please continue to tell yours as well. Your
Yes.
story is just as important as mine is and anybody else's that's on here. Just because I had a little bit of like notoriety at a university doesn't make me better than anybody.
Mhm.
It just makes it just you know, I you know always want to be known as Kye Staley. You know, obviously I'm known as the OSU football player, but that's who I was. I want to be known for who I am. And,
Absolutely.
you know, like I said, I appreciate you guys for bringing me on and, you know, definitely grateful that, you know, you thought of me. And, you know, as we have grown up, you know, to see you guys grow up as great men in this world, you know, that's an honor. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of your path and to be on and talk to you guys.
Absolutely. We appreciate
You're gonna
you,
make
man.
me
Always
tear up over here.
appreciate you, brother. And hopefully we can stay in touch, man.
Yeah.
We got to link up sometime.
No,
Please.
before we go, I have to say this because whenever we decided to do this podcast, it wasn't even a thing. But I remembered in Germany, I was listening to your podcast and I was like, dude, me and the boys, me, Brian, and our other brother, AJ, let's do this. Cause I'm, you know, always away. They connected. And I was like, Kai, that dude did a podcast. Let's do it. And dude, I had a list of guests and you were the first one on there. And dude, I didn't know, you know, really how to approach it. But like I tell Brian, I was like, dude, well, and it's a saying that, you know, is always out there, but like you're gonna miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It's the
Hmm.
same thing with just reaching out to anybody. And that doesn't have to be to ask them to be on a podcast. That could be to just, you know, hey, can you help me? I'm going through the situation similar
Mhm.
Yeah.
to what you're going through. So reach out. Don't be scared. Hey man, freaking appreciate you.
Yes.
You're
Appreciate
amazing.
y'all.
You're amazing,
Yes.
dude. All right. Keep up the good work. All right.
Still got plenty of work, but thank you for noticing.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
absolutely, bro.
Hey, cheers to health.
Cheers to health. Cheers to health,
Got
my
my
guys.
water here. Look, all of us.